Hi, everyone, and welcome to Unsupervised Consequences. I'm your host, Dino the Genetic Marvel. I am recording this in advance as I do have something to go do as per my fancy dressing outfit today. But this was supposed to be the last episode of Unsupervised Consequences. I am going to continue it going probably for another week just because I haven't really reached my goals. I'm close, I'm in and around there, but it's been a little bit of a hectic couple weeks. So, that being said, what I did want to discuss today was how important communication and support is. One of the key components of everyday life is communicating, whether it's verbal, nonverbal, emotional. There's a million different ways to communicate by touch, by even just by eye contact is a level of communication that obviously is really important, especially in a relationship. But then also too, um, having a support system around you makes a huge difference. So in my situation, my wife has been a huge component to my success. Sometimes just leaving me alone to my own devices. Other times just with a kind word or positive reinforcement. It's definitely a thing. Also, too, if you are watching while this gets released tonight, I will probably be live in the comments. So if you have a question, feel free to mention it there, and I'll definitely respond as best I can. Now, that all being said, one of the key experiences that I know that I've had has always been the idea or the perception that um, some things you have to do on your own for them to stick, and other things you can't do on your own, or else they won't stick. So it's a fine line, a fine balance that we all try and structure in our day to day life. Sometimes we feel like it's our responsibility to do things, other times we feel like it's somebody else's responsibility. And there's a growing trend in the world. I know that there's one lady who sued her parents because she didn't ask to be born. As much as that sounds ridiculous, um, people are grasping at straws every day. And I think we do as well in our day to day life. We want the support that we need, and that's something that we try and do. So, all that being said, there's one statement that always comes to mind for me was if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Um, and then we've all, I know my generation grew up with the adage that, uh, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, right? You can be so often guilty by association or just viewed in a different way just because of the people who you hang out with or surround yourself with. I know I've been judged in the past, and people were quite critical, and it turned out that what they were accusing ended up being that it was me. I was the bad influence on my group of friends. That was it, and they were kind of like, "Oh," and I'm like, "So, if anything, everyone's trying to help me be better, and I'm just a stubborn bastard." Happens. So, all that being said, one of those key components has been that every time in my experience that I relied on someone else to help me to do something when it came to my growth or maturity was a kind of I relied on someone else to do it when they were just trying to help me. The responsibility or the work still fell on me, and that's a mentor perspective that is important. So in the same sense, I hear stories about people arguing and fighting and not getting anywhere, and I don't know how I would deal with a situation like that because every time I've been in that situation I go, oh no, no thanks, I just walk away because I feel that I deserve better, and I feel that everyone deserves better. That's not just my own perspective. I think that's just it's all encompassing. I've always been a firm believer that people deserve an environment where they can feel safe, happy, and loved. You if you don't, then as I said, if you can't change the people you're around, change the people you're around. You know, uh, because that's one of the restrictions or limitations of just being a person is that sometimes you do need to lean on someone else. A lot of times people will use organizations or religion or what have you, or even the work environment for that kind of support. And not to criticize or to say that that's bad or anything. It's more so that I have yet to see one of those environments where there were people didn't try and promote their own game. And not to say that that's wrong, but that was just one of those things that would happen. So this is a situation where right now, I'll be honest with you, I hoped that in 2 weeks that I would lose all the weight and I would be back on track and do it. I've worked out the last 2 days. I haven't been fasting, only just intermittent fasting. So I've been trying to eat clean, but I'm still suffering the consequences of an indulgent weekend. And for me, I did feel like a failure today. I really did. But I got through my workout. I did some exercise, did a few things around the house, and now I'm dressed out and I have other things to do. But I couldn't do that alone. And one of the hardest parts is being able to look at yourself um, in the proverbial mirror and not just be critical, because I do believe that we should be more critical of ourselves than other people should be of us. But we have to also be realistic in our perspectives and know that there are only 24 hours in a day. And two specific things that I've realized was number one is that you can't out train a good meal plan or diet. Um, and number two is if you don't get enough sleep and are well rested, you're running on steam anyway. So all the work that you're doing is kind of falling on nothing. And there's a lot of research that goes into the idea of staying up late is kind of trying to gain control of your surroundings and things. And I'm horrible at that. And I will just doom scroll for hours. And then suddenly it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, I got to be up in 3 hours. Right. Um, but understanding yourself uh, and trying to grow, because it doesn't happen overnight. I'll be honest with you. Next week, I'm hoping that I can fast for like 3, 4, 5 days just to try and get some progress going. And I'm excited about that. But I didn't start there. And when I tell friends about that, they said, "You're crazy." And others have been like, "That's not healthy. You're definitely hurting your body." Yet I feel better right now than I have in a very, very long time. And I feel more like myself than I have in a really, really, really long time. So I guess this more today is that if you're not focused on uh, an environment that's beneficial and making that progress, um, how can you expect to get to this new achievement? And that's been one of the real components of this journey, was that doing new and different things provides new and different results. And those new and different results may not be what I was looking for, but change isn't always the enemy. It is terrifying. I'll be the first one to admit that I hate change, and I wish it would just stop. But it won't. I'm not in charge of it. It's just going to keep on going, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. So I can either fight it, which has never worked ever in my existence or in history, to be honest. Every time that we've seen people try to stop change, it has resulted in a full-fledged explosion. But instead, being able to mm, navigate. I don't want to use the word manage, because you definitely can't manage change. That is what my background is in finance, and I've always realized that the managing the economy has only resulted in massive amounts of pressure and results in what we see now. So you can't manage it, but navigating it and understanding it will definitely provide an opportunity or a pathway that we may not think was open to us or even possible as an option. But that's one of the components here of having that support around you and knowing that some things you just can't do on your own and some things you have to do on your own. Like I just worked out for 3 hours. There's nobody else going to do that for me. And in actuality, um, no one can make me do it. no one can make you do anything. So, though understanding how those factor into this journey has been a huge sense of growth and understanding of how to get to the next steps, but also to be creating stepping stones and not, jumping from possibility to possibility, but a real foundation in growth that's helping me stick with this plan. So I think I'll leave it with there. As I said, I will be in the comments when this airs later tonight, but I wish you all the best and have a wonderful evening. And I will see you probably tomorrow with